Merry meet everybody, Rowan here. I just wanted to do my video response that I promised Kitchenwitchable I would do on her video about Wicca and paganism and relationships. It's a subject that I'm actually really glad that she did the video on, because as she pointed out, I don't think I've ever seen a video of the same subject, and it spoke to me quite a lot, and I wanted to immediately just sort of come back on what you'd said. Firstly, I think you're very brave for making the video. I mean, sorry, at the moment I'm cutting up dried lemongrass. I'm just trying to think that's the best way to sort of start talking on the subject. I think probably the easiest way I can start off would be to say that I've had really similar experiences and feelings, and I wouldn't feel if I were you embarrassed or anything about the way in which you've felt previously with regards to your relationships or possible relationships and the craft, because I think a lot of people would have felt similarly, or I would think so anyway. That's just my opinion. I know that I spent quite a long time. It was a combination of not just feeling slightly embarrassed and a bit wary of how I would be judged, I'm going to go in there and say that, judged by previous partners about my craft. And to be fair, I think it said a lot about my choice in previous partners, that my immediate assumption was that they would almost freak out and take the mickey of what I was doing, like dabbling around in witchcraft and spells and all the rest of it. I think it says a lot of the type of person that I was going out with at the time. But I used to, same as you, I used to sort of not gather away, but at various times I can remember myself sort of covering up things. I mean physically, like putting a cloth over things, that if I was doing anything at home or anyway, so that things wouldn't be seen, because I didn't want to have to deal with the potential onslaught of questions and what I assumed was going to be judgment upon the subject. And I know that it kind of, I didn't end up resenting them, but I gradually realised over the years, and I think a lot of people would come to realise the same thing, that eventually you realise that it doesn't matter what, I know it's a very cliche thing to say, it doesn't matter what other people think, but it's a good cliche. It's one that holds its own. It's worth saying. But with regards to, for example, my current relationship, which is it's everything. It's 100% wholly amazing. I didn't feel embarrassed about telling my partner anything to do with my craft. Actually, when we went on our first date, it was the day of quite a big ritual for Freya's Day. We met on Freya's Day. And I was actually dressed in what I was going to be wearing for the ritual, which was, I mean, I'm always fairly, what should we say, bohemian. Some people call me a raging hippie, some people say various other things. Put it this way, I didn't try and dumb down anything, and I made no bones about explaining to my partner, as he is now, that on that day when we met for our first date, that later on that day I was going to a ritual with my, at the time, it wasn't a coven, it was just a circle. It was a gathering of friends. We would hold circle for the Sabbats, and that was all we used to do together. That was all we used to do when we gathered, sorry. And I made no bones about the fact, and I instantly knew that there was something amazing about this man, because not only did he not judge, but he asked questions. He genuinely took an interest. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, my goodness, woman, do not let this one go. Because not only, obviously, did I fancy the pants off him, but he genuinely cares, and he takes an interest. And we've been together 10 months in a few days, and he still is just as interested, and he's constantly telling me how proud of me he is for having my channel up and for growing in my tarot and in my herbalism and everything that I'm doing that is craft related, because I live every day. I live my magical life every day. It's just like my mug that I bought says, I live a magical life. Everything that I'm doing all the time is constantly related to the craft, because for me it is an everyday part of everyday life, because it is everyday life. And I count my blessings every day that I have managed to find not only the man who I know is my soulmate, but, and I think it's because we connect so deeply that he is so open and welcoming of all things for me that are craft, because he knows that with me comes the craft, and with the craft comes me, and he doesn't shy away from it at all. And I think that what helped was my immediate openness. I mean, obviously I had only just, sorry, I'm just going to stir my ointment that is currently cooking on the stove, which there's another video about coming very soon. I made no bones about covering up, well, I made no bones about explaining what it was that I was doing, and what it was that I do, and what it is that I believe, etc, etc, etc. And I think that took him not so much by surprise, but I think, well, yes, in a way surprise, but a very pleasant surprise, because he could see that, sorry, bear with me, he could see that I was confident and content within my craft, that not so much like, oh, I don't care what anybody thinks, but I genuinely, I have come to learn and to know that, again, it's a cliche, but the people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind. That's the best way I can put it, whether that be within relationships in a partner sense, or even just in a friendship sense. I mean, I'm lucky enough that my friends are all craft minded, and I think there's possibly one or two friends that aren't particularly craft minded, but take an active interest and ask questions, and they have a deep rooted respect for any faith, and particularly a nature-based and earth-centred faith such as paganism, Wicca and witchcraft. And I'm very, very lucky in that fact. So when it comes to the subject of when would you feel comfortable telling your partner, I mean, obviously we've covered that I explained on day one within about an hour. But I would say if you've got the balls and the nerve, that would be a general rule for everybody to have, because, and I know it's quite easy to say, sorry, go with me, it's quite easy to say, oh, just be confident and explain about it. I know that that's not the same for everybody, but if you can give yourself a little pep talk, which is, I'm just trying to think how best to word this. It's worth being confident because it pays off. It will not only give you a deeper rooted, grounded sense within your faith, but you know that you're being honest from the get-go. And I'm not saying that if you haven't already explained all about it from the get-go, then you're not being honest from the get-go, because your intentions are pure. They are clean, crystal cut. But be gently open, and if anybody's got any questions, they'll ask. And I mean, my partner is quite often asking questions, and, well, regularly asking questions, but quite often saying, I don't mean to offend. If I word a question in a way that could offend you, I'm just trying to learn about it, which I love. I don't mind that at all. You ask all the silly questions you want. There aren't... I'll take that back. There are no silly questions. There are questions of intention, because if you want to learn about something, you have to ask questions. So from a relationship sense, I suppose to summarise, I would say just be you, be open, go for it, trust in yourself, and trust in your faith and your path, that you are safe. Anybody that who? Oh dear, what is wrong with me? Anybody that means you any form of harm, or even doesn't have your best honourable intentions at heart, they will be weeded out one way or the other. And I would also say trust your insects? Trust your instincts. I listen, and it's taken me years and years and years to learn how to do this, so I'm not just going, oh, it's really easy. Your instincts are your instincts for a reason, that they are your soul, your spirits, your hearts, your mind's way of telling you things, so that you don't have to try and work things out all the time. If your instinct is telling you something, listen to it and go with it, whether that be what you want to hear or not. I have finally come to the point where I solely trust my instincts, and my goddess is it proving to be the best way I could have ever lived my life. Everything is... I'm not going to say everything is exactly as it should be, but I'm noticing less and less moments of complete despair and things going wrong, because I've listened to my instincts in the first place, and I'm not always in a position where things are going to go badly for me. So I think that's probably all I can say on the subject, to be honest, without rehashing over ground that I've already spoken on. Just trust your instincts. People come into your life for reasons, whether that be to teach you, or for you to teach them, or for you to gain something from them, or for them to gain something from you. And it's all love, whether it be conversations, whether it be arguments, whether it be anything. It's all, so long as everything is rooted in love, you can't go wrong. So I'm going to continue with my lemongrass chopping and my ointment stirring and prepping, and I will see you again very soon. I love you very much, and blessed be.